even though Captain Lou is not scheduled to be our guest until tomorrow night, I've asked him to sit with me to meet the inventor's inventor. Mark Birnbaum is here. Richie Ornstein is here. But alongside me is the man who runs the Invention Convention. Can I shake your hand?
Oh, nice
How
to
could
see
I
you,
not ask Jesse Kolodner, what do you think could have been the greatest invention of all time? I mean, the greatest benefactor ever of mankind.
Of all mankind, I would probably say in the medical field.
Really?
All the devices which are saving lives.
Pacemakers.
The pacemakers would be a good one. Well, I had surgery 25 years ago. I love the surgical instruments that they use. So.
Right. I would say also the printing press.
Printing press? Well, I wasn't around at that time,
Neither was
Joe.
I. And the automobile, the family auto was.
Well, the automobile is going to change now, and I think a lot of it's going to be because of you. One of the inventors who saw me on the show just about less than a year ago had an idea for a transmission. His name was Tom Winscoe, and he didn't know what to do, and he called your office, and they gave him the number, and he came over, and we developed and prototyped and built a working unit. And now it looks like we just got the patent last week.
Are we seeing it for the first time?
Oh, yes, this is the first one. It's any kind of engine. What it does is a single lever control allows the unit. Can I get up and show this?
Please, yeah.
Well,
This is very interesting.
this, if you look at this wheel out front, this wheel is the final drive wheel. But as you go forward, you would go forward just with a single movement of your lever, and then you slow down and stop, and then you can go in reverse, all with one single action. And the engine continually runs at its most efficient speed, Joe. And we've took that and we've added into the device I was talking to you about last time we were here, and that's the new trailer. This is going to be the way new trailers will look. It's a trailer that has its own engine in it, so you don't need a big tractor on the highway. No more jackknifing of trailers. The safety is amazing.
I'm feeling inspired now to go out and invent the phonograph machine or the electric light. I want to invent something.
Well, you can invent something like this young lady. She got stuck in a car, and she thought she was going to die because she couldn't get to her seatbelt. And she was having a small fire in it, so she invented this device. You just break the glass, and you see this little blade right there? You just cut your seatbelt loose, so you keep this underneath your car.
You know,
Jesse, excuse me a minute. Aren't you afraid that, I mean, not that anyone here would do that or any of the audience, but that someone would steal these, steal the idea and...
No, well, what we do is we do a patent search, and then we get a patent applied for, and we make sure that we have a patent pending before we show it.
You know that during a recent economic recession, maybe not that recent, maybe 100 years ago, a lot of people demanded that they stop all inventing in the United States because they feared that more machines would keep even more people out of jobs. There are people always that are against inventions, always.
Well, what it does now, it's a way that Americans can turn the economy around.
Really?
Because if you have these little empty buildings full of people who are inventors, if you read the Gazette book, this comes out every week from the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Every week. This is the week of February 26th. But if you read the names in it, I'll just open up randomly and read. This one here is Japanese. This one here is from New York. Is Japanese again. Japanese again.
Well, you see quite a bit of Japanese.
And they come here and capture our market, so people don't even get a chance to start a company. Before, if you had an idea, you would start a little company, you would open up a little factory, you'd put people to work, and that's what we're trying to do by letting people know that the invention process is really an easy one to do, and if they have an idea and don't know what to do with it, there are ways to protect their idea. And I always tell your listeners, Joe, write down the idea, because the day you conceive of it is more important than the day you even file for a patent.
So if you need a few do's and don'ts, my friends, about your invention to make sure that you'll get some of the gravy and not some unscrupulous manipulator, be in touch with this man. Yes,
What
Lou?
Jesse said, maybe this is a way to bring America back to America. Instead of worrying about Japanese technology, West German technology, English technology, they're not telling us that they're slowly taking over our country. Maybe by inventing things like this, we can keep our own people working in America and make our country stronger.
Mr. Mark Birnbaum is the young ragtimer. I want to tell him I've been seeing all your publicity in the paper. We're proud of you, and thanks for mentioning that you're...
I don't want you to say a word, Joe, just a minute. First of all, I've got a photostat here of the New York Post. Mark Birnbaum. Well, I'm not even going to quote what it said. Just one of the... I know a lot of musicians in my time. I've been involved with Cyndi Lauper. I knew Bruce Springsteen, so forth. One of the finest ragtime musicians in the history of music.
What do you want
He's a legend in his own time.
What do you want to ask or say of the invention convention expert over here, Mr.
Thank you,
Birnbaum?
Captain. Jesse, you know, I'm really impressed by this sort of thing. What did this feel like when you knew you invented it? Was there a day or a week
this
or an
wasn't
hour?
mine. This was invented by a person.
Somebody
who,
brought it to Jesse.
Brought it to me and said, I had this idea, I don't know what to do with it.
Right.
And then we went through all the steps. And
You have to handle all the steps of this?
That's right. I did the patent search. I went out to Washington. I spoke to the examiners. I designed the unit. We built it in our factory.
And are the companies, are they going to be sensitive to this? Might they be antagonistic, or might they really embrace it?
Well, if you realize this is going to take us out of the fuel shortage in our country.
That's what I want to
understand. No more imported fuel.
Now, get ready for this. Last time, I want to read this briefly. I got 100 letters about you, but one man who is apparently an airline pilot wrote me a letter. He says, here are 2 inventions needed by the armed forces. Crash-resistant fuel tanks for aircraft to survive crash landings without bursting into flames.
Correct.
Isn't it amazing how people... Have we got a smart audience? Windshield rain deflector for aircraft that will not interfere with the pilot's vision. You got to get these things...
That's right, and someone has the idea, and if they just know what to do with it. You know, I get calls from this program from all over the country. I just spent two weeks traveling out to the West Coast to meet some inventors who had some ideas. Because your program brings them in. Before, I used to be a little factory here.
No more local yokel.
No,
Mr. Ornstein, what do you want to ask or say of Jesse Kolodner, the inventor's inventor?
Jesse, what about the things, the inventions that I hear, like a carburetor that could do 100 miles to a gallon, tires that will never go flat, that you'll never have to buy new tires? What happens to all these inventions?
Well, some of them might get bought by the companies who want to prevent you from ever putting that on the market and hurting them.
That's the gasoline companies.
I once sold a product to a major medical company that would be something that you wore on the wrist. I was in a hospital, and I hated to go waking up every night by the nurse to come in and ask me, I got to take your blood pressure and take my temperature. So I developed something that she would just read on my wrist. I tried to sell it to a company, and they buried it. They bought it, but they buried it. Speaking about on the wrist, this was invented by Bruce Barber of Brooklyn, who again saw me on your show, and he was tired of being underneath the sink fixing something, so he invented the wrist light. And if you're in the car, instead of carrying a flashlight under your arm or in your mouth, so this was invented by Bruce Barber of Brooklyn.
It looks
but
nice,
now
too.
this item, simple idea.
Nice, too.
Just a simple Velcro device with a bunch of bulbs in it and a little 9-volt battery. Clever little idea.
Necessity is the mother of invention. It's necessary to be in touch with that
Jesse,
man.
why don't you invent me a little light bulb that flickers on and off of my earring instead of these rubber bands I can put
You've got it.
I'll leave it up to
Got
you.
it. Next week, I'll make sure you get it.
Those lights on the ears, I've been told, could be dangerous.
No, little LEDs, just flashing LEDs. In fact, I have a pair I think I already made about a year ago. I told you when we were going to be doing that thing together.
Jesse,
I made uniforms.
we invented the trivial challenge, and Richie Ornstein is going to try and stump the panel, one of our popular cameo sequences.
I can't begin to tell you it was a song recorded by Ruth Haig with the Harry James Orchestra. What was Ruth Haig's real name?
Can't get it.
Betty Cromwell.
Well, you got the first part right.
Betty Grable.
Betty Grable is correct.
She was Mrs. Harry James. That made sense.
I Got Rhythm was introduced by Ethel Merman in the 1930 Broadway musical Girl Crazy. But who composed that song?
Gershwin.
That's it. Very good. Who said, if the people don't want to come out to the park, no one's going to stop them? No.
Casey Stengel?
No, but it sounds like Casey. That was a Yogi Berra.
Mark, where do we catch the ragtime
Oh,
kid?
you can always catch me at Avita's Steakhouse, Thursday through Sunday every evening, or you can catch me at the Angry Squire Saturday brunch. I'll be waiting for you.
We're tuning up our piano for you to play something live for us.
Great.
And if you want to catch Captain Lou with Les Kiter, sports legend, tomorrow night on this program. So one more do and don't, Jesse. I know you're a busy man, but one more.
This is a cute idea. This was brought to us by a young lady from New York City who liked to go around the floor and wear the socks and the mop on her feet, so you didn't have to put a rag down. And this is called a sock mop.
A sock mop?
A sock mop. You just put it on, and you just go around the floor, cleaning the floor on your feet. And it seemed like such a simple idea, and we did after we made the model and did some patent work on it, we found out that thousands of people were interested in this little item. So there's another case of a simple little idea that makes it because someone did something about it. That's the main thing.
How many great inventions happened as a result of an accident?
Of an accident?
Many,
Well,
sure.
this one was probably because the poor woman almost died in the car. She drove through the back of her port or into her pool, and her car sank in the swimming pool, and she couldn't get out. She was stuck in because of
when
this.
he's here, our rating does not sink. If you want to be in touch with Jesse, is there a phone number?
Oh, sure. You can call me at 914-735-2929. 7774.
There it is on the screen, 914-735-7774. We're going to return with some very important news about the compassion and the love that our country has or does not have for the homeless people, for the people who sleep in subways and hallways, and this, I think, is something
timely,
where we
very timely.
must invent some...
They just said today they're going to throw everyone out of the subways
right.
as of today.
That's really not too good. We shall return, because, you know, subways are for sleeping, right? We shall return following these words. Let's watch closely. Stay here.
This is Phil Rizzuto for The Money Store.